It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
Next question is from Tucker Investing. If you're on step 7, does that include investing in real estate? And so he's referencing step 7 of the financial order of operations, which is hyperaccumulation. So is that where you should start real estate investing, or could it be sooner? When should you start putting your money into real estate instead of the market, or should you? Like, what are y'all's thoughts?
Well, Tucker's asking a great question. By the way, he's really close. I mean, if we were doing horseshoes, he'd get at least 3 points. Or maybe a point, because it'd be wouldn't be a ringer. But it's if you look at the 9 steps of the financial order of operations, when we talk about step 7, hyperaccumulation is really talking about the 3 bucket strategy, meaning you got your after-tax investments, that's like your brokerage accounts. You've got your tax-free, which are your Roth accounts that you are funded with after-tax dollars. So you don't get a deduction on the funding, but you do on the growth of the accounts. And then you have your traditional tax-deferred accounts. You're trying to make sure you have enough money in all 3 buckets. And what we use from a cash flow perspective is, are you saving 25% of your gross income with traditional investing in traditional type of accounts? I consider real estate to be a step 8 of the financial order of operations, because this is one of the things. I love real estate investing if it's the whipped cream and cherry of your investment, foundation, because it's one of those things you got to get the basics right. And this analogy is not perfect. You guys know where I'm going with this, because I've had people, everybody skips. They skip the Roth, they skip the health savings account, they skip maxing out their employer retirement plan and getting all the match. And then, but they read an article, or they saw social media, or they saw a YouTube channel where somebody is flipping houses or doing Airbnbs, and they think, this is what I need to be doing to create wealth. And yes, real estate, we are real estate investors too. That's why we get a bad rap when people say, y'all don't know real estate. I'm like, we know real estate more than most people, because we do residential as well as commercial. And that's the part, I call it for unlawful carnal real estate.
Okay.
Now listen, y'all know where I was going with that, is because look, because when we bought our first big commercial real estate, we had somebody I have a lot of respect to us come to you and say, boys, I hope y'all got enough money that when it gets ugly, you don't lose it.
Yep.
And that's why I can say for unlawful carnal real estate is because you better do it right, because if you don't, that acronym turns completely the other side that we all know we're not allowed to say on air. And that's the part, because you better have the deep pockets, because real estate is great because you're using leveraged debt to amplify your rates of return. That is outstanding while everything's going great. But as soon as things go bad, man, you get caught. I mean, that tide goes out and you are naked right out there for everybody to see. And that's where you get yourself in a lot of trouble. So I'm just telling you, you're going to remember what I talked about here. And you're going to know, am I at that point that my pockets are so deep that I can go take advantage of what real estate has to offer me?
So I'm going to reiterate one thing you said. I'm going to add one new thing to it. I agree. Real estate should happen later on in the financial order of operations. And I think one of the things that people miss is they try to get into real estate before they have a foundation built, right? Well, you have to be, just like Brian said, you got to be deep. So I want to see you with a really healthy portfolio built up underneath you before you start getting into the real estate decision. Well, then people always say this to me. This never fails. Yeah, but I'm missing out. And so this is the first question I ask. Hey, do you own a home? Yeah, I own a home. How much it go up last year? Oh, it did good. What about the year before? Oh, it still did good. I said, you're a real estate investor. You may not realize it because it's a use asset, but you have real estate exposure. You're already doing that. So what's the reason you want to get into other real estate? Like, what's the thing that you're looking for? Is it just because you think it's going to be some magical solution? Because people say this all the time. Hey, got to get into real estate. Get me some of them deductions. I hear there's deductions in real estate. I'm going to save a bunch of money in taxes. Yeah, if you're a higher income individual, that's not exactly the case. The reason you get into real estate needs to be like a well thought out, well reasoned decision. I mean, we have many friends of the show. Charles is the one that I'm thinking of right off the bat, who does a lot of real estate investing. But you know what he didn't do? He did not start his investing journey doing real estate. He built up a foundation and then he moved into that once he was able to support doing that. So make sure you don't get out of whack. Make sure you don't get yourself out of order. It's why we have the financial order of operations. If you start adding and subtracting before you start multiplying and dividing, you're not going to get the right answer unless you just get lucky. It's why we have it there. But I don't think real estate is bad. We're not anti-real estate folks, just in the right time, for the right reasons, in the right circumstances.
It is definitely not the type of investment or asset that you want to fake it until you make it.
That's right.
Because, man, if you get caught being a faker, it can break you. So just be very careful. That's the whole part about being leveraged, is it amps up things on the good side, but man, does it amp it up on the downside as well.
Yep.